Greetings, YouTube! On today's episode of ZOMS Skepticism, I thought I'd treat you all to a short video from an MIT scientist who has, if you couldn't already tell from the title of this video, scientifically proven the existence of God. And not just any God, mind you, but the God of the Holy Bible. Oh yes, this is going to be fun. Roll the intro.
My name is Gerald Schroeder.
Hello, Gerald. You can call me Zoe.
I have a, thank God, a strong science background from MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, bachelor's, master's, PhD, 7 years in the physics staff. Seen a whole range of atomic bombs detonated.
Those are definitely some worthy qualifications.
Moved to Israel, met my wife, Barbara Sofer, a great writer, and then teach Torah and science. So luckily, I'm lucky that I have the two that come together.
As a scientifically literate layman, I must admit I'm rather intrigued, fascinated even, by theology. But I'm a bit concerned about what you mean when you say, the two that come together. What do you mean by that, Gerald? Certainly you aren't teaching the Torah to a class of physics students, are you? Gerald, are you teaching Torah to physics students?
And one of the questions that I'm asked as a scientist is, how can a scientist really believe that there's something that we refer to usually as God?
Yes. I do seem to notice a lot of theists have this tendency to ask scientists about the existence of God. Most scientists tend to lean toward an answer of agnosticism, which, for all intents and purposes, is probably the most honest answer they can give. This answer also seems to make theists believe they've somehow trapped said scientists in a gotcha sense. Personally, I think that's kind of stupid. Saying I don't know doesn't mean I don't know, therefore you're probably right. It simply means I don't know. Though, let's face it, I don't know, but you're probably wrong.
You know, is this metaphysical whatever acting in the world or producing the world? The irony is, the question's really a non-starter. Science has in fact discovered God.
Now you're just being disingenuous, Gerald. For most scientists, the topic of God doesn't even matter. Knowing what we know about the nature of reality, it seems highly unlikely that, even if there is a God, it certainly isn't much for interacting with its creation. But you'll hint at that later, won't you, Gerald?
And you can talk to the hardline atheists and they will say, it looks like science has indeed discovered God.
You actually end up doing a lot of name-dropping of scientists during your little spiel. Mind name-dropping some of those hardline atheists, Gerald?
And how would that be? Well, if you take the trouble of going to the web and there type in WMAP, the initials for a satellite, it's a diagram that shows the development of the universe from the creation over time. It's a timeline.
I think most of us are aware of the WMAP, and while it does indeed create something of a timeline outlining the birth and expansion of the universe, it does not, in any way, define the universe as a creation. It simply shows the growth of the universe from its singularity to the present.
Every word on that diagram comes from the NASA site. It is the condensed knowledge of the scientific community of how the universe created and how it got to where we are today.
True. But again, it says nothing of the universe being created. Our understanding of how the universe came to be is actually quite limited, and to simply assume that God done did it is grossly overreaching.
Each of the lines, the vertical lines, is another billion years. Okay, you start from a burst of energy at the extreme left side of the diagram, and you end up at the far end with the oval. The oval is to indicate expansion in all directions. Of course, because it's a timeline, we can't show that on a single piece of paper.
Okay, great. I personally love a good old cosmology refresher. But what does this have to do with God? I'm starting to think you do teach Torah in the physics class. Conversely, you're extolling the wonders of the cosmos to your Torah students. You're all kinds of mixed up, bruh.
We see here, most amazingly, that on the extreme left edge, it shows a beginning to the universe. Now go back less than 50 years. If I were teaching that at Tech, a person could lose tenure saying that there was a creation of the universe. It sounds like it's Bible.
What the fuck? Just because the concept of a universe coming into existence, as opposed to always having been, may have been controversial, doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be assumed that you're espousing biblical creationism. The promulgation of controversial topics is often brought up in academia, or was, before SJWs ruined that, but I digress.
Because less than 50 years ago, the overwhelming scientific opinion was the universe is eternal. There was never a beginning. The Bible is wrong from the very first sentence.
Be that as it may, the wonderful thing about science is that it adjusts its views when presented with new data, something only a handful of religions are willing to do, and only within the parameters that they are capable of redefining their woo to fit scientific principles.
And then we discovered, suddenly, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, the Bell Labs in New Jersey, the northeast of the U.S., discovered the echo of the Big Bang, the energy left over, which George Gamow, 60 years ago, predicted that if there had been a universe created hot and small, it would have exploded, and the energy would get more and more dilute. And Penzias and Wilson, these Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, discover this energy that had been predicted overnight. The Bible got it right. There was a beginning to the universe.
And the Quran got it right. And the Vedas got it right. There was a beginning to the universe. That's how you sound. You're just applying it to your cultural interpretation of whatever dogma it is that you follow. The fact of the matter is, ancient cultures presumed that the world had a beginning because they saw that things came into existence, much in the same way that those same cultures believed that the world would end because they saw things come to an end. They were drawing correlations based on information they were receiving from their environment. But of course, religion has to hijack that and say stupid bullshit like, see, we knew all along because our God is an awesome God.
Now, the black in the diagram is nothing. It's not a vacuum. Vacuums are within that diagram, within that cone of expansion. Vacuums are empty space, and space is something. The black of the paper around the diagram is nothing. It doesn't fit in our human brain because humans think in a box made of time, space, and matter/energy.
No, there's nothing in that diagram because, as far as we know, there's nothing outside of the universe. There is no outside of the universe of which we are aware. If multiverses turn out to be a thing and they're all bumping and grinding each other like an intercosmic rave, then we can propose that there might be something outside of the universe. At this point in time, however, to suggest what you're suggesting is, at best, wrong, and at worst, completely disingenuous.
No human, as clever as they might be, as expansive as they might be, thinks out of that box. So when we say outside that diagram is nothing, we can use the words, but we can't conceive of nothing. It doesn't fit in the human brain.
Sounds wooey, but okay. Look, the very fact that we can define nothing as the absence of something means that we have, at least, a base concept of what nothing is. We can conceive nothing as an abstract, because that's what it is. Nothing is not something. It is the absence of something. That's what nothing means.
How are we going to have this idea, is there a God or not? Notice that the creation force isn't a three-letter word, G-O-D. If you look at the words carefully, it's a quantum fluctuations.
The moment someone begins abusing the word quantum, you know shit's about to go full woo. And you call yourself a scientist?
That understanding was first brought down by Ed Tryon, brilliant human being, in the journal Nature, almost 40 years ago. The universe allows creation of something from nothing, provided you have the laws of nature, the quantum fluctuation.
Alright, so if we have the laws of nature, why do we need God? If anything, having the laws of nature in place negates the need for a God. Where are you going with this, Gerald?
Tryon realized, and he published in the journal Nature, one of the two leading peer-reviewed journals in the world, that you can create something from absolute nothing, provided you've got the laws of nature, quantum physics and the laws of relativity. In other words, the laws of nature. So look what science has discovered.
It's discovered that, given the correct parameters, a universe can come into being. Is this the only way a universe can come into being? We don't know. But since this is the only universe we know of, and it happens to be the only one we inhabit, we must assume that the ingredients for a universe include these phenomena.
We can create the universe from absolute nothing, provided we have the forces of nature. Now, the laws of nature, the forces of nature aren't physical, they act on the physical.
Which, again, negates the need for a God to create the universe. It really just feels like this video is a whole lot of filler, culminating in a rather unastounding finale.
So if they create the universe, that means they predate the universe.
No, it doesn't. The laws of nature, as we understand them, exist alongside the universe. They came into existence with the universe. They are as much part of the universe as all the matter and energy that constitutes the physical universe.
So now we have a set of forces, we call them the laws of nature, that are not physical, that are able to act on the physical. They create the physical from absolute nothing. And they predate the universe, which means they predate our understanding of time.
I've already said what I wanted to say about this, so I'm just going to let you continue.
Put that together and it sounds very familiar. If you haven't noticed it, that's the biblical definition of God.
Well, I'm sold. Clearly God is nothing more than quantum fluctuations. So where do I sign up? By the way, I'm not doing any of that missionary spread the gospel crap. Sorry, buddy.
There's only one nuance that's left hanging. We can talk about it another time, perhaps.
Wait, there's more? Way to throw me a curveball, Billy Mays. Is that reference dated? Do you kids know who I'm talking about? Forget it.
Is that which created the universe, those forces active in the universe?
Are quantum fluctuations active in the universe? Well, I'd assume so, since, as far as I can tell, the universe is still ticking along. Wait, I thought you said God was the quantum fluctuations. Now you're saying God created them? Well, now we're back at square one. Come on, bro. At least throw in some Spinozan philosophy.
But up to that point, science says you are correct. The definition of the biblical God is predates time, outside of time. God is not a physical being, is a force, and it creates the universe.
A lot of gods fit those qualia. I mean, a lot. Why does it have to be the biblical God? Why can't it be a cool god like Quetzalcoatl or Pangu? I mean, the biblical God is so mainstream, and he's kind of a dick. Why have him be the creator of the universe? Why not the flying spaghetti monster, or Russell's teapot?
You'll notice that the opening chapter of Genesis, the only name for God is Elohim, God as manifest in the universe. Science has indeed discovered the biblical God. Well, we just need one part left, crucial. That which created the universe is also active in the universe itself. The very fact that you're watching this now pretty much establishes that point.
Oh, I get it. Because I clicked on your video, that was God's will being done. Was it also God's will that I'd walk away from this video even more sure of my position that your God does not exist? I mean, maybe 5 minutes isn't long enough to really hammer home the fact that it's your particular God who is the creator of all reality. That's alright, though. At least you tried. Now go on, scamp. Those Torah kids need to learn about quantum mechanics, and your physics students are already halfway through Deuteronomy. As for you, my lovely audience, I hope you enjoy this video, and if you have any ideas for videos you'd like me to take on, send them to me via private message here on YouTube or at my Twitter or Facebook accounts, links below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. Chatelet.